Well, cricket season's with us once again. Outstanding. Can't wait for it to get underway in the MPCA, and it's brought to you by GameFace Vision. If you want all your vision when it comes to footy and cricket, just get in touch with GameFace. They're the best in the business, led by the great man, Glenn Carter. Ryan Hayward's on board this year, and his people from Swiss Locker, they've got the best apparel, best sporting clothes, whatever you like, go and see Ryan. Also, we've got some prizes that Ryan is going to look after for us this year as well. So we'll get to that a little bit later on the show. And Brainy Brothers Brewery as well is another one of our sponsors. And my first special guest has apparently tried the product, as he so often does, the great man. I haven't had the opportunity yet of trying the product at Brainy Brothers, but we'll get that opportunity down the track. And our first guest is one of our most popular people on the MPCA when it comes to cricket. He's on the board of the MPCA. He's also, I would say he bleeds red and blue during football season, but he bleeds gold and green during cricket season with the Mount Eliza Cricket Club, who just lost the grand final last year. Great performance, and they remain, of course, in Peninsula. Wes Burke, welcome, Burkie. Good to have you with us.
Yeah, thanks, Dan, mate. Great to be along, and thanks to you and Carts and the GameFace team for agreeing to hook up with the MPCA and as our official media partner. So, we'll do some exciting stuff, I think, together this year and really get people involved, talk cricket, and have a huge season. It was a big one for the footy club. It was huge, and hopefully that carries over. It was a little bit late. It was a little bit late on Monday morning, but no, well done to the Red Legs. They did a great job. So hopefully we can take a bit of that winning spirit just over the road to Mount Eliza and bring one home ourselves.
You had a good season last year. Dramana probably just a little bit too strong on the grand final. What did the team learn?
Yeah, they were good, Dramana. I mean, it's just such a tough competition. Like 8 sides in a grade, you can be bloody a game out of the 4 and you can be a game off bottom getting relegated. So it's really exciting the way the MPCA is structured now through all the grades. No, we had a great season. Obviously, beat Somerville in the semi, who were a good side to get to the granny. Dramana were just too strong with the bat, putting a couple of hundred on the board, always going to be hard to chase. So, but, looking at last year, Mornington was strong. Rosebud were very strong as well. The competition's only going to be even stronger now, with Long Island coming down. Apparently they've recruited a few, so they're going to be strong. So we lose Dramana. Mornington, Long Island come down, and it's going to be a tough competition, yeah.
Did you think, and now you're on the board now, did you think that there was a period there where the clubs and the players were more comfortable playing one-day cricket, that there was more flexibility?
I think there's still a strong group of people that would still love to play all one-day cricket. There's probably just more people that like 2-day cricket. And I think the mix is right. I think the structure's brilliant at the moment. We're always looking for ways to improve things, but I think the draw is really good.
Now, in regard to the structure, there used to be 10 teams in the sub-district comp. It's been tough going for Pearcedale. A few years ago, we're right up the top, and they've gradually just struggled with numbers and struggled with talent to start. So their best team is now in A grade. Hastings are the same as well. With the greatest respect to those two sides, we know French Island haven't been in the top 4 grades for a while now. Is it the right mix? You've got 4 grades and 8 teams in each grade, with the greatest respect to Hastings and Pearcedale, or do you hope eventually they'll come back?
Oh, look, it's a perfect mix having 4 divisions of 8, but yeah, absolutely, we want those clubs to come back. And look, those clubs in their request to play their first in A grade have been really communicative. We've sat down with the MPCA, spoken about their clubs, and most importantly, their plans to get their clubs back so they can move back. So it's not a forever thing. At the moment, struggling a bit, it's the right place for them. So I think the MPCA made the right decision in letting them do that. Right, and then, they'll build up again and come back into the competition in the top 4 grades.
We'll come back in a second. This is the MPCA Cricket Show, thanks to GameFace Vision. Also, Ryan Hayward and his team at Swiss Locker with the best apparel in town when it comes to sporting clubs, and also Brainy Brothers Brewery. Back with more shortly. Now, one of the many things that GameFace Gareth is offering this year. We've got Gareth White here from the Main Ridge Cricket Club and also Telstra Business Technology Centre of Melbourne South. One of the major sponsors of our cricket show for the MPCA this year is the Headshot. So it allows the players to have their photos taken of them, and we can then put them up as graphics when they produce good performances throughout the season. How important is that, do you think?
Oh, it's very important. It just gives that personalisation when you're putting things up on social media. I know for myself, it's always good to see the different banter, whether it be the likes of Ryan McQueen's buffhead running through there, or some of the prettier ones like Ricky Ramsdale. So those type of things are always good, just to put a face to them.
And it's $100, so it's not much at all. It's a great opportunity to invest in what is a great product being provided by GameFace.
No, absolutely. It's just a no-brainer from our side of it. I think as soon as it came out, I think we were first in at 9 o'clock the next morning. Right, lock us in, let's get it done.
Excellent. We'll get in touch with Glenn Carter, Josh Rickard and the team at GameFace Vision to get your headshots done this season for the cricket season of the MPCA in 2024-25. Cost you just $100. It's nothing. Cheap as chips. We're down here at Somerville and, of course, another huge season for the Somerville Cricket Club. Jace Nagle is their coach, their head coach. Jace, how are you looking forward to the season?
Yeah, looking forward to it a lot, Dan. It's been a good pre-season. Going to be a pretty tough comp, so, yeah, we're having a lot of fun.
Is it a tougher comp than past years, do you think, when you look at Long Island coming down?
Well, absolutely. They're going to come down. I mean, you look at a couple of the sides that have come down in the past. I mean, look at Rosebud a couple of years ago. They went down and they come straight back up down to district. So I think teams that are getting relegated now are going, they're going pretty well, except, use Baxter as last year as a bit of an outlier, I suppose. They went down, they've gone bang, bang. But it's always a strong comp. That going to 8 teams in the MPCAs, it just makes every game important, especially early. You've got to get these one days. You've got to get those early wins on the board to take a little bit of pressure off you come later in the year.
You happy with recruiting?
Yeah, so we've actually lost 3 from last year, and mainly our bowlers. So our bowling will look different, but we've got Brad McDonald and Isaac Harrison back. So Isaac's back from the UK, and Brad had a year off. So they both had a year off last year. They're going to be important for us because Isaac, Brad doesn't bowl spin, he tries to, but Isaac's...
he bowls nude, no?
Isaac's a good bowler. He's good. He's just a pain in the arse of a bloke. So, but we'll be different, but we'll bat well. And so, we know where we're at. We know what we've got to do. So we're just going to have to make runs.
Now, Dave, you were the Player of the Year last year, and you're very quiet and retiring about it. I love the T-shirt. Player of the Year 2023-24. I'm the best we've got. Do you honestly believe that, Dave?
Absolutely. Yeah. Jugger had it made for me, so I really appreciate him making it for me. It's really good.
Tell us about your year last year. Was it the greatest year that we've ever seen in cricket, Dave?
There wasn't anything I didn't do, really. Caught well, bowled well when I got the chance, but made a truckload of runs. Yeah, really, really happy with it. So hopefully I can do that again this year.
Now, what's your strengths when it comes to batting? Are you a player that likes to just take time at the wicket and then eventually see off the new ball and then get going, or do you just belt from the word go?
It's organised chaos, like the odd quick single, take the field on, wait for the kids, slap them around a bit. So, no, it's good. Yeah, really strategic. Pick my battles.
What sort of player is he, Jace?
It's a cross between... Actually, there's no two people that he's a cross between.
No.
He's a unique person. He's a unique player. I've played with him a bit last year. We had a lot of fun, as you could imagine. So,
yes.
Yeah, so I thought it was important to get Dave on because the lower grades don't get recognised enough, Dan. So it's important that we recognise the people that probably aren't quite as talented and don't get the opportunity to play higher grades. So Dave's one of those blokes. He'll never play 4-piece cricket. So 2-piece cricket's where he's at, and it's good to have him down here.
You need to have players like him around your cricket club, don't you?
Well, I'm a big believer in that the most important people in your club are your lower grades, your lowest grade working up, because if they're not putting money over the bar and if they're not in there supporting, then your ones players aren't getting the coin if that's what they want to get out of it. So, I mean, it's easy. It's an easy thing to say that, we're a club that's just we're a club. We don't worry about what grade you're playing, but we actually live it. Every week. The way we get around each other off field, we're as good as anyone going around, and we really embrace it. We got the women training tonight with the men as well, so got a casserole night in there tonight to honour, just a legend of the club in Maladolphus. We've renamed round 1 to the Maladolphus round, so his daughter will be down here tonight, and his wife will be down here tonight and they'll present an award on Saturday night. So. You go in there on a Saturday night, Dan, you've actually been in there and had some good
many times.
And, you've been on the receiving end of a couple of sprays and given,
Yes.
So, but it's a good club and, we get around everyone and, I'd love to be able to get a shot out there at the moment when we're finished of just watching the men and the women warm up and it's a good feeling.
And Dave, why do you love this club so much?
Oh, just good fun. Yeah. Everyone gets around each other and we all take the piss a bit, but it's all a bit of a laugh. So, you can't come down. As Jugger said, getting some time in the bar and spending some time with your mates, making new friends. It's great.
And telling great stories about how good you are too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it gets better with age too.
It does.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks, boys, for joining us. Good luck to the Somerville Cricket Club for this year. This is the inaugural MPCA Cricket Show. The season kicking off this weekend, and we thank our sponsors, GameFace Vision, Ryan Hayward and the team from Swiss Locker, and also Brainy Brothers Brewery. Now, Wes Burke is my guest from the Mount Eliza Cricket Club. He's also on the board. We'll talk about some board issues, Wes, in just a second. But let's get your tips. It's always very hard opening round of the season because we don't really know, except maybe our own teams, about how they're going to go, or everyone else's own teams. But in Peninsula, which is your competition, you've got Seaford Tigers first up. We know that a couple of years ago they got very close to winning it, struggled a bit last year, and they're a pretty good side, aren't they?
Yeah, they've lost a couple of good players since 2 years ago when they did they play Heatherhill? I think Heatherhill might have gone up that year in the grand final. Yeah. They were a bloody strong side then, but yeah, they've lost a couple. I'd like to think the Mounties can get up in round one against the Tigers.
At home, of course.
At home, Saturday. Well, it depends. It's probably going to rain. It is round one. We'll probably end up in the bar drinking that magnificent Brainy Brothers beer.
Correct.
Which isn't the worst thing round one, right? Bit of bonding, bit of get the team together.
But having said that, because you're playing on matting, you tend to get away, don't you? Or you tend to get away in the opening round of the season. It's hard when you're playing turf for a number of the other competitions around the area. And, of course, you're
a better chance, absolutely. It depends how keen the players are. And even the umpires sometimes, they get thirsty as well.
Well, and don't want to start.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's just a bit too hard and let's go in and do some bonding and we'll kick off round two. But we'll see what happens, mate. We'll give it a go.
All right, very good. Okay, Seaford and Rosebud.
Seaford and Rosebud, yeah. Well, again, interesting to see how Seaford cope up a grade. You know, we never really know the difference in quality, do we? But, you know, Rosebud were very strong last year. They played in the finals. They were strong in the semi. I think they might have lost to Dramana in the semi, did they?
They did.
Yeah, but they were a bloody good side. They beat us in a two-dayer and we made the grand final. So, look, I expect them to be just as strong, and I think probably first up, Rosebud will beat Seaford.
They're in some trouble in the off-season in regard to losing players, but I know that a few of their life members, who might now be at other clubs, did a great job in just rallying the troops and keeping them together and getting more players to the club and getting good players who were being looked at by other clubs to stay at the club. Nick Jewell, of course, has gone across to the Bayside Turf competition to coach the very strong South Caulfield team. But other than that, they still look like they'll be right in the mix. Murdoch always find a way of staying up. They take on Somerville, who again made the finals. And we'll speak to Jace very shortly about how he thinks his team will go. He thinks their batting's pretty good. Their bowling probably needs a bit of work, but this will be an interesting game against Murdoch, who are the great survivors, as we mentioned, Wes.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, they're another club that's been hard for them in their demographic. They haven't had a lot of sides for a long time, but, you know, Somerville, aren't they just a super consistent, strong club? They've been strong for so many years. I was chatting to Jugger just the other day, and he was quietly confident that their batting's going to be really strong this year. So, you know, bowlers are overrated anyway, let's face it. Anyone can sort of roll in and just sort of throw the ball on the pitch somewhere. Batting's what wins your games, isn't it?
Try and tell Tommy Barron that. He's one of your best bowlers.
Oh, what a start.
He's a star.
Took the most wickets in Peninsula last year too. He reminded me the other week. So
he's just a bowler that trundles.
He's just, he's an absolute, he's just a ripper. No pre-season. You could just throw in the ball first game and he can just run in and he's away. But look, I think Somerville will be very hard to beat. One-day cricket, though. One-day cricket. One player comes out and has a day and makes a 70 or an 80 and takes the game on.
And we're all going to be a bit rusty, aren't we?
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't imagine all the catches being held.
No, that's true. Now, Mornington and Long Island.
Cracking game.
Yeah, cracking game. Yeah.
Cracking game, because Mornington, I believe, will be even stronger. And look, they were a really good side last year. They missed out on the 4. They were the side that finished 5th, but they were a really good side. Like, I think times we played them, like we only just beat them. So many games that are decided by 10 runs. So hard to pick a winner with that one. I think Long Island coming down will be really super keen to get off to a great start. So I'll probably go with the Islanders in that one.
It should be a terrific opening round, and hopefully we get some cricket. It's
game of the round
at the moment, and we're looking for great cricket on Saturday. I think the weather will be okay. Now, Wes, you are on the board. Are you enjoying being on the board, and what do you think is the biggest issue that the board has to deal with, you reckon?
Oh, look, there's plenty of things you've got to deal with day to day. It's a massive association, you know, with 35 clubs. This time of year especially, trying to get draws right. And the hardest bit about that usually is getting clubs to tell you how many teams they've got, because you don't know, right? So look, it's always hard this time of the year, but the board's we got a really strong group of people. We had a fantastic forum recently run by Kim Jackson and Craig Entwistle. They did an amazing job. And Steve Marone, I've just got to tell you, unbelievable. I can't believe he's not a life member of the MPCA. He's been president for 15 or 16 years now. And, last year when we didn't have someone in that admin role, he was just unbelievable, working full time, kept the association running the board, just tireless. These group of volunteers that put in so much work, not for a club, but for an association. It's hard enough to get volunteers in your club.
Yes.
But these people that give their time, I just think they're fantastic. So got a lot of talent there, but look, there's the stuff that's got to be done, and there's lots of it. But our view at the moment is we're taking a bit more of a strategic approach. What does our association look like now? We've got a 5-year plan that isn't finished that we're creating. And how do we get more people involved in the running of our association, get more feedback and a nice flow of information inward and outward, just to make this competition the best it can absolutely be.
You've got enough boys and girls playing? That's the most important
Yeah,
thing.
well, it's funny because you talk to people and they go, cricket's a bit on the stink, it's on the decline. It's actually not. So MPCA cricket, I've got the statistics from a participation perspective, we're actually up on where we were 5 years. We're a little bit down on senior males, okay, and a lot of that's got to do with the economy. There's heaps of blokes just have to work Saturday that used to play cricket, right? They can't pay the mortgage if they don't work, so you lose a few
that's
there.
Where the one-day fixtures come into play.
It can help, but the real shining light hasn't been women's cricket.
Yes.
So like going from 1 division to 2 divisions this year,
right.
You got clubs just really embracing not just women's cricket, but female cricket in the juniors. Participation in blasters is up, juniors is up. So cricket's actually pretty healthy here, right? But we've got to make sure that over the next 5, 10, 20 years, that's our responsibility. All our clubs are set up, healthy enough, structured the right way, financial, so that we can promote our sport. That's what we're here to do.
Before we go around the grounds, we're heading out to a few of the clubs today in the lead up to the start of the season for our MPCA cricket show, brought to you by GameFace Vision, also Swiss Locker and Brainy Brothers Brewery. Do you think, with all the women and girls playing, not only on the peninsula, but right around Victoria, right around Australia, has a lot to do with the continued success of the Australian women's cricket team?
Oh,
We give them enough credit.
That'd be part of it, but there's no doubt there's also a strategic push from Cricket Australia, Cricket Victoria, through to the association and through to the clubs, And I'd say to any clubs that are struggling a bit for numbers, that haven't maybe quite embraced women's cricket yet, you want to, because it's the future. And once you've got more women involved, it was like footy clubs. Footy clubs 20 years ago, you were lucky to have one woman in the canteen, right? And it was really blokey. And how good has netball and football been coming together?
We
and how
saw about 7 or 8 life members in the MPFL.
It's changed the dynamic. The clubs are better places to be. The cricket clubs that have already moved are already starting to see the benefit of having that environment that's very female friendly and really inclusive of everyone. And I think that's the key to not just surviving, but being able to promote your sport is have a lot of women's play. It's half the population. And what a great game it is for females to play. It's not about strength, it's about skill, timing. So it's a great sport for girls and females.
Are you playing, or will you be behind the bar?
No, I made my comeback game last year in round 1, which was sensational. And pulled my calf muscle appealing for a wicket, fielding at square leg after having dropped a catch. And
so you thought maybe it's time?
Oh, mate, the great John Harvey asked me, the captain of the Fifths, you can't knock him back. So, look, I'll probably play another game when we're short at some stage and pull the other calf muscle or do me back or something. I think old, fat, bald men should probably sit in the bar or help out some other way, score. No, I don't think my cricket's going to have too much impact on Mount Eliza this season.
But I'm sure that your involvement in the club will have an impact. Your involvement in the association will have an impact. Wes, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck to Mount Eliza this season, and we look forward to having a great association with the regular weekly cricket show for the MPCA, brought to you by GameFace Vision, Swiss Locker, and also Brainy Brothers Brewery. Enjoy the cricket.
Thanks, mate. And one other thing, can we have a beer next time we catch up?
Have
Just
to
a
ask-
bit parched here.
Yeah, all right,
I'll
mate,
organise the beers because I think we don't want
course
to
you
copy
will.
the front bar, but I think
we don't. I knew you'd mention that. The big
Yeah.
fella will look after that next time.
All right.
We're about to head
Well
out and
done.
about. We're on our way down to Dramana, who've made their way back up into the top level provincial after, of course, they won the Peninsula Grand Final over Mount Eliza. Thanks for joining us. Back with more shortly. Takes on his old mob Sorrento to kick off the season. The Director of Coaching at the Dramana Cricket Club is Bobby Wilson. Bobby, good to have you with us, mate.
G'day, Dan. How are you?
Going well, mate. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, always exciting to start the new season. So, getting up to provincial, the first time Dramana's been in provincial for 52 or 3 years. So, it's good to get the club up there last year, and we'll have a good crack at it this year.
So the fact you got up there, I mean, obviously it's great. It's great to be there for the first time in more than half a century. What do you hope to achieve this year? I mean, you don't just want to make up numbers, do you?
No, of course not. I mean, if you look at the teams that have come up in the last few years in provincial, they've all competed and played finals. Pines, Red Hill, they've all come up from that subbies in the last sort of decade. So, these boys have won sort of 3 flags in the last 5-6 years. So there's no reason we can't push finals this year and try to get that 4th one.
And up against your old mob Sorrento, that must gird the loins this week. Hope we get a good day for it. Unveiling of the flag.
Yeah, it's funny how the fixture works. So that'll be good to come up against the old boys. So, it's been such a good week with the weather. Hopefully the rain stays over this week and we get a full game in.
And being Director of Coaching and knowing the provincial comp well, how important is that going to be for you in regard to helping the rest of the team?
I've just been saying to the boys, yes, we'll probably come up and compete as we are, but we've just got to get better. We've added Madu Pereira from Murdoch, who will probably bat top 5, so that strengthens us there. And we've got a couple of other guys. We'd look to strengthen the 2s as well. We don't want to go up and the 2s struggle every week, so we've added a few and tried to actively recruit for the 2nds as well, which will filter down the club. So, hopefully we can compete. But we're under no illusion it's going to be longer, harder days of cricket, playing against teams with better batting depth. You're probably not going to get that 4th, 5th, 6th bowler that you can attack. There's going to be 4, 5, 6 good bowlers in provincial. So I've just been trying to drum that into the boys that it's going to be harder, longer days of cricket, but we're definitely good enough.
Do you expect it to be a massive jump up? Do you know that it's a massive jump up?
Well, jumping back last year from provincial to Div 2, you could maybe notice the depth a little bit. Like you get a side 5 or 6 for and you're pretty confident you're going to roll through them.
Yes.
Provincial, it's not like that. You can have a team 8 for 100 and they knock up 220. So that's something, and that's going to be my role on game day. Yes, Sam's the captain, but me just voicing those concerns that if we do drop off or we're letting a partnership build, that we really crack down and make sure we roll through the sides.
And you mentioned the fact that teams can just rise up quickly and how tight it is at the bottom. I mean, we've seen the battle for relegation. Again, last year, 2 teams finished on 2 wins, and because they had a better percentage, Heather Hill stay up. We've seen it before with 3 teams in contention, and Mount Eliza just missed out, I think, a couple of years before that. And then Red Hill rises up and wins the flag sort of from nowhere in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well, you see, like Long Island have gone down, and they're a bloody good side, and they've added to their list this year as well. So I have no doubt they'll be, pretty close to coming straight back up. Heather Hill come up last year and competed, so they'll be good again. As I touched on earlier, Pines and Red Hill have come from subbies from 10, 12 years ago and rised up and won. Well, Red Hill won the provincial flag and Pines have played in the last 2 grand finals. So there's no reason why Dramana can't do the same thing.
So it's a great comp, isn't it? And the fact you've got 8 in the 4 divisions now is probably a great thing for the comp. With all due respects to Pearcedale and Hastings, they'll come back. They're just having a rough trot at the moment.
100%. It's the best thing the league's done. I think it was 7 years ago now. Was to go to those 4 divisions, and Lee Lowry and Corey Harris did a mountain of work there to get that across the line. And you can just see now it's even the comp right out. If clubs do drop off, like Baxter at the moment, they do go bang, bang and drop down. Crib Point did it. Pearcedale did it. So you see, if teams do lose the bulk of their ones players, they are going to drop quickly, but it also gets sides up the grades quicker. And now the subbies are down 8 as well, so they're going to have an even comp, even draw. And it's going to be a much more level competition. So hopefully Hastings and Pearcedale do get back up into the divisions, but, at the moment as it stands, 32 is a pretty good number.
Is it tough to recruit?
Yes and no. I think you've got to be in a good position. Players don't really want to go to a club that is struggling and maybe on the way down. Dramana's right at the foot of the peninsula, so I've found it a lot easier to at least get people's feet in the door.
Yes.
Sereno was hard because it's so far down the road. It's an extra 40 minutes from here, so especially in those summer months. So you just got to be in a good position on field, I think, and off field is very important these days. A lot of clubs are maybe struggling off field, and that doesn't draw people into the clubs. So, yeah, I mean, this club's going well on and off, and the footy club's thriving as well. So, Dramana as a whole is in a great position. So, yeah, loving being here.
And what do you like most about being director of coaching?
Not being the main guy in each area, but we've got, but still having a say. Still chairman of selectors, still helping Zach out with the coaching. Sammy Fowler's a really young captain, 25, 26 years old. So I think he leans on me a lot as well on the field, which is great. So while not having the title of captain, coach, whatever, it's still good to have that input and then helping Greg off the field with recruiting and setting up the club. And the main reason Greg got me here was to try, when we do get in provincial, is to be set up to stay in provincial. So that's our aim.
Can you concentrate more on your batting too, just not being the captain now?
Yeah, well, Zach runs a great training, so I could just sort of rock up and have a good hit and focus on my own game a bit. And then I just bowl when I'm told to, I field where I'm told to, and hopefully we get the results.
Well, great to catch up. Enjoy the season. Big first up game against Sorrento this week. Going to be a cracking competition in provincial. Look forward to being down here a little bit for GameFace, calling the occasional match for the stream, and enjoy it. Bobby, thanks for chatting to us.
Thanks, Dan. Look forward to seeing you a bit this year. It's good.
The Mornington Peninsula is one of the most beautiful parts of this magnificent state of ours, Victoria. And one of its great tourist attractions is Arthur Seat. We're at Arthur Seat Summit Park. We're right at the top here. People love coming here. And with it being school holidays, it's been a very busy time of year. And of course, we're in the process at the moment of the MPCA cricket show, the preview show for season 2024-25. We're on our way, talking of beautiful, to one of the most fantastic cricket grounds I've ever seen in Main Ridge, and we thought we'd pop in here to Arthur Seat and have a look at the great backdrop behind me. Forget about me, but have a look at what's around us. This is Arthur Seat. This is the Mornington Peninsula. Couldn't be anything better. Well, it's a great pleasure to catch up with the new coach of the Main Ridge Cricket Club. They're playing district this year, and that, of course, is a man who's been at this club for a long, long time. He took a break. He went to Bonio. He won a premiership, so he's got the Midas touch, and he's come back to this magnificent venue at Main Ridge. Jason Albrus. Jason, thanks so much for joining us. Why did you decide to come back?
Yeah, no, I obviously enjoyed my time at Bonio. Finished on the ultimate highs, but obviously a home club calling. My son plays here as well, which I get a bit more involvement with his cricket as well. So looking forward to helping Main Ridge work towards the ultimate goal as well.
Win, lose or draw, would have you come back this year? Would have you left Bonio, no matter what happened last year on the granny against Mount Martha?
Oh, it's a very good question. Probably would have in some way had more involvement with my son's cricket. Yeah, definitely. Yep.
And what do you like about this club? What attracts you to it? I mean, you were here for such a long time. You went away for obviously an opportunity to coach somewhere else, which is often a good thing. But what brings you back, as well as, of course, your son playing here?
Yeah, this doesn't hurt too much. Yeah.
Well, I reckon it's outstanding, isn't it? I mean, even those little benches over there, you can sit and have a beer on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. I've just noticed them. They need a little bit of a clean. Yeah, well, the birds have had a bit of fun, but
you're always welcome up here for a beer. Obviously a great facility, but the people involved. Somewhere like Main Ridge, everyone's important, and I really enjoy the fact that whether you're in the thirds, fourths, first, whatever, everyone matters and everyone cares about how all the other guys go as well. And I think that's pretty special about the club. Yeah.
How are you expecting the team to go in regard to performances this year? They've battled a bit in recent times, but they've got a lot of young kids. Are you expecting them to be able to make that step up?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we're a club in transition in that we've had a lot of experienced players move from the first team, and we've got, as you just mentioned, there's a few young guys coming through and a few new faces. I just expect us to play a brand of cricket that makes us really hard to play against. The results will work themselves out, but if we play to the way we want to play, then we'll be hard to play against every week.
This is the district and sub-district preview show for the MPCA, thanks to Telstra Business Technology Centre of Melbourne South, GameFace Vision, also also Swiss Locker and Brainy Brothers Brewery. Now, this week, your first game, you're obviously taking on Crib Point, who were pretty good last year. What are you expecting in that game? And you're here at home, and hopefully conditions will be good.
Yeah. Hopefully we get a good day. Cribby, good club, led really well by Blake Hogan-Keo, of course, and Blakey at the top of the order and bowls really well as well. But they've picked up a couple of guys too. They'll be a really good club and pretty tough to beat. Like I said, if we bring the game we want to play, then I think it'll be a really good contest. Yeah.
When you play Bonio, and Bonio this week, of course, have got Baxter, who've dropped a couple of divisions in recent times. Are you going to have that intellectual knowledge? Is that going to be important for you, do you think, knowing the club pretty well?
Yeah, to a point it will be as well, but they've got some new faces in there as well, and got some new ideas, no doubt, into the club as well. Yeah, it'll be a little bit of an advantage maybe, but they'll know how I'll be sort of planning for them as well. So it'll probably nullify itself out a little bit. Yeah.
And how do you think Baxter will go against Bonio this week? I mean, it's been a tough couple of years for them, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to know what Baxter will bring to the table this year. I think Bonio will be quite strong, and they've kept the core of their players from the premiership last year, and I think they'll be right up there. But as for Baxter, very hard to predict. They've got some dangerous cricketers in their team. It's whether that they've that they if they bring their best effort to the games, then they'll be again hard to beat. It's that sort of competition.
Carrum Downs and Carrum, I mean, this is the traditional rivals, the local rivals. I don't think they love each other too much, but they always play good matches, don't they?
They definitely don't like each other too much from what I hear. That's on the grapevine, but yeah, no, I don't think there's a lot of love lost. Both of those teams, I think most people would predict them to be right up there this year. I think with Bart on board at Carrum, it gives them a whole heap of direction, got some really good kids there. Foz is captaining again, and obviously we know him pretty well here and know how good a player he is. But Jake Jartree is a really good player. He made a lot of runs out here last year as well, and Liam Hewlett, who had a bit to do with in his junior days, is a really good player as well. And then Carrum Downs have picked up the Dinger boys from Baxter, on top of what already was a really strong team. It's whether who brings. Both teams last year had probably a couple of games where they just had a bit of a meltdown. So I guess it's who brings their A game more often or not.
And Balnarring have got the big game against Flinders, almost arch rivals, or certainly local rivals geography-wise again too. And Balnarring came up last year. They've got a pretty good side, and Flinders have always been thereabouts, haven't they?
Yeah, two sides. I know the guys pretty well. Yeah, I think Balnarring have added some quality to their side, which is already good quality. Josh Peet, I obviously know fairly well from Bonio and rate him very, very highly as I have when he played at Bonio. He'll add a fair bit to their bowling and batting as well. Yeah, they've got Luke Hewitt, who's a gun, as we know, not only a gun cricketer, but a really good fella as well, and plays cricket in the right spirit. So he's got a lot of respect here and around the peninsula as well. And then Flinders as well, they'll rely a lot on their younger guys. I know Huddy Blake pretty well, a guy I play a lot of twos cricket last year, young fella coming through. I expect him to play a bit of ones this year. I think they'll have Sammy Field for at least some of the season, good player coming through the ranks. Charlie Beggs is another one. They've got almost like a bit of a golden generation coming through, and those guys are just hitting the ones now. So I think that they'll be very dangerous to play against for all teams.
And in sub-district, as we have our preview of the MPCA, thanks to Telstra Business Technology Centre of Melbourne South, GameFace Vision, Swiss Locker, and also Brainy Brothers Brewery. We've only got 8 teams, of course, in sub-district. You've had 10, of course. You've been on that comp for 3 years. Fortunate for Hastings and Pearcedale, just battling a bit at the moment. But is 8 a better number, with great respects to those teams?
Yeah, obviously it evens up the draw. The last couple of years, we when I was at Bonio, the year before, we probably had a really generous draw and got into the finals maybe a little bit before we were ready. And then last year we had a harder draw and were able to get in there. But now there's no excuses, is there? So you're playing every team twice. So I think that'll even it up a fair bit.
YCW and Ballon Park, who wins that?
Yeah, I think YCW, I thought I liked them last year. They just lost a lot of close ones. They've added a little bit as well, which I think they'll be good. They'll be one of the top teams this year.
And Dalek and Parker, a couple of years ago, were playing off for the premiership in district. We've gone back to sub-district, but still a pretty good side up against Sky.
Yeah, look, if they've kept, I know Johnny Guthrie will be there. If they've kept Johnny Guthrie and Joel Malcolm, any teams that have them in it, those guys in it are going to be good teams. I think they'll be very competitive in sub-district. And who did you say they were playing, sorry?
They're playing Sky.
Sky. I have absolutely no idea what will happen with Sky. I know when I've been at Bonio, I said, you want to avoid them in the first couple of rounds because you just don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
And that's the same this year. I know a lot of the players that we played against the last couple of years have moved clubs, so I couldn't tell you too much about Sky. I think they've got Anthony Craddock back there, and I think he's leading, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes with Paddy Beckham and Dave Durbin and those guys.
Mount Martha travels down the highway to play Rye, the team you beat in the Granny last year. They've been pretty good in sub-district over the last couple of years, Mount Martha.
Yeah, very different team this year. Yeah, they had obviously Evan Williams and Tommy Walker last year were probably, they were the two guns, probably two of the guns of the comp. So I've lost them, but added in Ryan Harrison from here. And they've got a great kid there, Charlie Caldecott as well. And I really hope he gets a good run at the top of the order and with the ball as well. Mount Martha, a good club. I expect them to be pretty competitive. Rise the team. We played them in a pracky game here a couple of weeks ago, and they've recruited really well. They've also got a couple of good kids coming through. They've added in. They've got Siva is coaching there now, and he's really sort of galvanised them together. And I actually think Rye will be, one of the top 2 or 3 teams for the comp.
And the Frogs travel to take on the Avies Tybe. And Tybe made the finals last year, and we know Tutkaruk, their best is great, but sometimes they don't produce their best, do they? A little bit inconsistent, the Froggies at times.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they're probably one of the most talented teams in subbies, and that's the challenge of Danny Halibut, is to get the best out of them more consistently. If they do that, like we know there's talent there to beat just about anyone on any day. Who are they playing against? Sorry,
they are playing Tybe.
Oh, the Abbeys. Yeah, the Abbeys have added about 100 Regans from Hastings. I work with Jaden.
Brock, of course.
And Brock as well, as well. I know they've picked up a Sri Lankan guy as well who's a really good player too. So Tybe, another one of those clubs, like they're always pretty competitive. They have lost a bit. They'll certainly miss Horse out of that first team. But those additions will, I think, a team that already has a lot of depth, I think will have an increasing amount of depth when it comes to selection this year as well.
Well, Jace, thanks so much for your time. Looking forward to seeing how you go at Main Ridge this year, and it's a great pleasure to have you part of the MPCA preview show in District and Sub-District, and we'll be doing this every week thanks to our major sponsors, Gareth White, of course, who plays a big part here at Main Ridge, Telstra Business Technology Centre of Melbourne South, also Brainy Brothers Brewery, Ryan Hayward and his team at Swiss Lock, who look after all the clothing and apparel, and GameFace Vision.
My name is Gareth and I'm the Operations Manager for the Melbourne South Telstra Business Technology Centre. We provide tailored telecommunications, print management and ICT solutions for both small and medium-sized businesses. Whilst we're physically located at 240 Princess Highway in Dandenong, most of our appointments are at our customer's business premise. We find meeting on site gives us a better understanding of the customer's business and is more effective use of their time. Our main service is to improve the way the customer operates their business. This can be done in a number of ways, like redundancy or load balancing of their internet, solutions to help prevent cyber attacks, vehicle fleet management, phone systems that allow you to make calls from anywhere in the world, and mobile applications that can shape the way you do business. Our customers' communications is the heart of their business, and if it is not working, neither is their business. We make it work, so businesses can focus on their core business. We're proud to be market leaders in customer experience. Partnership is a big part of our community engagement and responsibility plan. Our contribution helps the club provide a positive environment for both kids and adults alike. Sport in general is not just about the physical well-being of the participant, but also the positive impact it has on their mental well-being. Main Ridge Cricket Club is an outstanding example of this, and that's why we are proud to be their sponsor this year. Give us a call, 1300 669 103, or pop in and see us at 240 Princess Highway in Dandenong.